Brum, 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 brum. Do I look silly?
Yes, you do.
Thanks for watching the channel. Don't talk when I'm talking. Thanks for watching the channel. This is Accessible Autos. It's a channel all about cars that you can buy with normal money. You don't have to spend a fortune on. Now, don't forget to hit that button down there that says subscribe. It's very important to keep the channel going. It doesn't cost you anything. It's that big red button down there. This episode is a bit of a one-off. I've always done cars that are basically from my lifetime, 60s, 70s, 80s, 90s and noughties. I've been given something here to reassemble, which is a really interesting piece of kit, and it's a very, very old motorcycle. Let's hit the titles. Welcome back to the channel. If you haven't yet subscribed to us, we've got loads of good content going on. We've got the Volvo XC90 project, we've got the Alfa Romeo, we've got the Passat, and we've got my Citroen C3. And just because we haven't got enough things to do, we've now got this. So our challenge, this is a one-off special video. This is not the sort of thing that we do normally. I do not understand motorcycles and I have no interest in motorcycles at all. This bike has been given to us to reassemble. And it's been half restored and we've just got to basically put it back together in order to sell it. So if anybody's interested in the bike, it's a 1939 Premier Werke, built in Kiev in the Czech Republic, pre-war, so it was German-occupied territory at the time. This is a very interesting bike with a very interesting history. And so the Boy Wonder and I are going to actually reassemble this bike, and hopefully the process will end up with a finished vehicle. So what we have here, this is the frame with the engine still intact. My father-in-law, who started the work on this bike, did dismantle it, and I've got photos of this before he started the work, so we kind of know how the bike was in the first place. One of the things that he did concentrate on was getting the wheels into decent condition. Although the paint job on them is a little bit suspicious, we're still going to leave them as they are. So the wheels are ready to go back on. All we need to do is sort out all the bits in these boxes and get them all back onto the frame. Stand up and assess what we've got. So I would say the first one. How do we know which way around it goes? I'll say that was finished. What we're into here is we've got to reattach the front brakes. There's a little stud on the inside of there, which wasn't removed when the bike was dismantled, so we kind of know that's going back like that. I've done a bit of messing about with the front wheel, and actually when I put it on, I've attached one bolt because I can't find the other. When you pull the brake, it actually does stop. I think this is the pedally chain, and that goes on there like that, and then the chain on the other side is the motor driven one, which will eventually sit on this side, between this cog here on the engine and this cog on the back of the hub. Alright, to me then. Alright, ready? So that's our first stage done. Look at that, it actually looks quite good now, doesn't it? He's just going to tap that up and see if it'll be removable. Yeah, there we go. Good luck. Okay, very good.
Yeah.
So I'm going to pop that little nut in there. I don't like the idea of using modern nuts and bolts because it's sort of not keeping in with the originality of the vehicle. Not even sure that fits. Okay. Reinstall with this one on. Like that. This one's a much chunkier chain, it's bike chain, or motorbike chain, I mean. The motorcycle chain then gets hooked up around here. And then they're both pulled tight like that. So the next thing I need to do is reinstall this, which is the exhaust pipe, and it's simple really. You've got a flange here, and that screws onto this large outlet on the engine, like so. Bearing in mind none of this is being done with any long-term kind of ideas. I'm going to try and get it running, but I'm not holding a great deal of hope. I'm just doing that finger tight, and then we've got this bit here, which is a really bizarre old-fashioned sort of exhaust with this kind of fin tail here. That will slide into there. Which is here, like this. Unfortunately, for some reason, somebody has chopped a section of that rear mudguard out. Now, I'm not going to bother repairing it. Oh, I know exactly why there's a section of that chopped out. And then on top of that, this thing goes, and it goes like that. And we have actually got the bracket that sits in there. So the back mudguard is on. It took me a lot longer than I expected. Getting those two nuts in there was quite fiddly, and there's one underneath there, which you can't even see, can you? That was actually very difficult to get to, and the same again on that one underneath there. Now our Premier Werke is sort of back together in one piece. There's a few things we need to look at, some details. There is the chassis number. It says 1939, if you look carefully there. 98cc, weighs 158 kilos. We thought it was time to do a bit of research into the background of this 80-year-old motorbike. So we went to a classic car museum where we'd heard there were a couple of motorbikes. Unfortunately, neither was much use to us because they were different brands. But we did have a good day out, and I did get to wear some silly costumes. I've got my medieval roundhead hat on, obviously made out of recycled Vauxhall Cavalier. Right, this is one for Sam Crack. It's got chickens all over it. So next up, I'm fitting these brackets back on the front. These are where the headlight fits, so I've got to fit this back in there like that, and then that joins on there, and you put the headlight in between. So this is the level of the progress today. We've got that headlight on, which makes it look quite finished. Both mudguards on, but we haven't got all the supports for them, unfortunately. We've got both chains on. We've got the chain guard, which is there, which is going to go on last, and the centre of the distributor thing, which is actually, we did kick it over and we can get a spark. As with most of the parts on this job, I'm actually only doing them finger tight because somebody else is going to come along and want to remove most of the things I've done and do them properly, because I'm just assembling it so we don't lose bits, or and we kind of know that we've got everything. Right, I've been studying this. Some of the photos that we took before this was dismantled and rebuilt and I've realised that although I threw it back together hurriedly, I've actually left off two quite essential parts. Now I've got them, which is not a problem, but it just means I have to take the back wheel off again, which might mean having to take the mudguard off again, which is a bit of a job. So we'll see how we get on. Brum, 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 brum. I do feel like a bit of a low-budget Steve McQueen driving this. It's very retro. It's very, very heavy to pedal, so it doesn't work very well as a bike. But that's the completed item. The whole bike is reassembled. It's missing a couple of small parts, but generally speaking, it's all back together. So it's on the market if anybody wants to buy it. This is the bike that's for sale for you. 1939 Premier Werke, all original condition. For somebody with the right sort of knowledge and experience with these things, this is probably quite an easy mend. We did actually get a spark out of the spark plug when we tested it, and probably with a little bit more messing about we could have cleaned out the carburetor and got this thing running. So it's a very nice original piece of kit. Don't forget, if you've enjoyed what we've done today, please hit that big red subscribe button. It doesn't cost you anything, there's no commitment. Please do it, it helps us get the channel going, helps us do jobs like this. Thank you very much.